Right, I'm gonna do a video here, basically, on this Imperial Guard Codex. It's an old one, but I consider it to be the best Imperial Guard Codex ever. And there's a reason behind that. It's a thin codex, so these are like the old thin codexes. I can't quite remember what edition this class is as, potentially third. But basically, what's within this tiny little volume compared to some codex you can get, and particularly now that they're known specifically as the Astra Militarum. But what makes this a wonderful codex is packed into this tiny little space, and we're talking like a small amount. It's so much inspiration and so much content. And so I wanted to do a video on this very old codex that a colleague at work gave to me. First things first, you open it up, and straight away you are hit with the wonderful variety of Imperial Guard regiments that you could get at the time, mostly in metal. So as you can see, you've got a showcase of a beautiful Catachan army there. Then you move down to this wonderful Talan Desert Raiders, and finally finishing on the Valhallans. Now, without a doubt, that's just so how do I put it? It just draws you in straight away, doesn't it? It makes you feel like, wow, there's such variety in the Imperial Guard, which, oddly enough, they're actually coming back to now. A lot of the Astra Militarum, they kind of went to Cadian heavy. Now, don't get me wrong, Cadian look more like real soldiers of, well, I'd say more slightly post-modern army, so slightly in the future of our own army. But, there's no other way to put it. It limited. They removed so much that made the Imperial Guard special. So, within this, you've got such clear kind of layouts. It show, you can start to see here the formation of detachments that started coming about with this issue, and that kind of runs through to this day. This beautiful kind of Commander HQ setup. It shows you what an Imperial Guard army should look like. You've got a kind of lovely armory here, so you had a lot of control about what you gave your troops at the time. You can see, though, that they packed quite a lot into a very small area. It's what made this edition actually one of the best, to my mind, to actually play. I loved this version. I loved playing this version. I found it quick and fast to actually play. That was my personal view anyway. You can see the way that the Imperial Guard detachment process, I believe this was the first version of Warhammer 40k, where you got this kind of setup with the Imperial Guard that really thought about how an Imperial Guard detachment would be put together. Running down the side, you've got these lovely little bits of, blurb about each one. Just to give you a bit of an understanding, they pack so much into these old codices that I love them so much for it. You can see you've got your elites, your hardened veterans, your stormtroopers, your Ogrins. They're all here, built into it. Beautiful. You then, you're kind of moving all around to these troops. You can see, like I said before this, I don't know if the Imperial Guard really had this kind of setup, so I'm pretty certain it got cemented in this edition. The amount of troops you could pack into a single choice, which makes sense for the Imperial Guard. They're not Space Marines, they're not the elite. You have to pack as many troops as possible into the front lines. There were ways of really mechanizing parts of your army. Later on in future editions, you were literally able to mechanize the whole army, which was really good. Again, you've got your sort of things like your hellhounds, which I'll have to check. I'm pretty certain you can still get. Rough Riders have come back now. They disappeared for quite a while as models, really, and they're back now properly. Your Lehman Russ battle tank options with the Vanquisher, the Exterminator, the Demolisher. Some of these miniatures weren't fully available at the time, and you had to make them yourself. This is a very important thing about some of these old codices. You frequently had to convert the miniatures in order to use them. That's what was so interesting. Not only did this make you want you to collect, it made you want to build specialized characters. I don't think Dead Dog was actually available as a miniature. The Last Chancers were a cool unit. Every single one of them was named. Again, you've got to sort of look into this about how beautiful. But this is what made this codex so amazing. This right here. I don't think I've ever seen anything like this since. Not once. This is the regiment of the Imperial Guard, and this just shows you the eclecticness of it, the variety, the range involved within this. It's designed to inspire you to do your own regiments. If I was better at 3D modelling, I would pick one of these and I would try and make them, but I'm just not that good, unfortunately. But my goodness, the variety you've got here, and just show you kind of, what they kind of used to encourage in these kind of codices. Everything from, and real outliers like these Jaguar warriors, and you'll see things like the Death Corps. Yeah, right there, like the inspiration for the Death Corps is very clearly there. You've got this here that you could easily use Escher miniatures to represent. You've actually got very clearly stated that the Van Saar Necromunda gang are actually how the Imperial soldiers of Necromunda can look. In fact, I have, I'm starting to build my Necromunda 11th Armour Company now, and the Van Saar are the core of that armour company. The thing is, what's here is just beautiful and inspirational. This, I would love to create this, this force again. If I was better at 3D modelling, I would do, but I'm just not that good, unfortunately. Wow, I mean, it's just amazing, isn't it? Look at the Rough Riders. The options, look, rat skin Rough Riders. Well, the rat skins are part of Necromunda. They're considered to be the tribal people of Necromunda, basically. So you can clearly see how this is all set up. You've got, very weird ones. All of these basic concepts are there and beautifully, mapped together. Tank crew, just giving you some ideas. That's why I believe this to be the best codex that was ever created, because it is so inspirational to me. Shows you your kind of tank variants in a very kind of, technical plan. Even shows you this here, quite a detailed breakdown of an Imperial Guard regiment. And then moving on from there, you can see that you can, it's got how to collect. It shows you this huge, army that someone's made with such a wide variety of guards. That's how I believe an Imperial Guard army should look. There is no other way to put it. And kind of, you'll then get this beautiful showcase of all the different colour schemes that you can, really roll into as you go along. We also have, without a doubt about this, again, individual collectors' armies, so they really kind of showcase to you everything really that you can think of. Different colour schemes for the different regiments. Again, you get inspired by these kind of things. It shows you like different patterns that you can potentially use when you're actually coming up with them, you know, right down to agri-world colour schemes, urban camouflage, desert camouflage. It's all there. Again, look at the organisational markings, a bit on how to paint, and techniques on how to paint different types of camouflage that you can come across. Again, tanks, painting, talking about personalising, encouraging the use of Necromunda models, the old metal Necromunda models as part of your army. You know, custom examples of commissars, beautiful suggestions about how to create dioramas on, you know, on your tanks, and Zaragrad, this Stalingrad inspired army that someone created. It's absolutely insane what you know, they're showing you everything that you can possibly do, and pushing you know, your mind to whole new levels that I just don't think you get in modern codexes. Example of this here, Big Two Forever. Look at the custom tanks on that one. You know, this was when the hobby was able to encourage extreme modifications of all the different miniatures, because they didn't supply all the miniatures. So in order to have something, you had to make it yourself. That's what made it interesting to me. That's what got me into it. And of course, you know, finishing off with a final little showcase of painted miniatures, and, you know, a little bit about the Macarius Crusades. And that's it. That is one of the old Imperial Guard codexes, and I will die on the hill that this is the best codex for the Imperial Guards I've ever seen, because what they do in this tiny amount of space is pack so much wonder and so much joy and so much excitement and desire to collect and model, that if I were to comment on the hobby now, and it's probably my biggest criticism of the hobby now, is that the models are so expensive and they're so hard to change because of the way that they're made now, that it's hard to justify cutting up them, changing them, because it's a scary thing. And I want to sort of see a return to this glory day personally. And I'm not big on nostalgia. I accept things have to change, but I just think that this is where we should be as hobbyists, not worried that everything has to be exactly as Games Workshop set it, but allow ourselves to be excited about it. So I hope you like my review of the best Imperial Guard Codex ever. And, you know, you're free to disagree and you're free to argue with me. But that's my opinion. So thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe, and I will see you in the next video.